Why is it that this property is valued at around £400,000, but the house next door is valued at over £900,000? It generates £88,800 in income every single year, with a return of investment of almost 40%. It's because this one is a house in multiple occupancy, or HMO. Now there's a lot going on underneath the hood here, and once you understand exactly what that is, you can deploy these same strategies and processes into your own property business and get the exact same results that we did. All we did is follow a simple process that works to find an opportunity, add value in a particular way that I'll show you in this video, and leverage that value to pay off our delivery costs, recycle our capital over to the next property, and make money every month forever, whilst delivering a product that the rental market is absolutely screaming out for, that tenants love, and that they're happy to pay for. So this is the story of our 4th award-nominated HMO, a 9-bedroom conversion, how we found it, what we did to deliver it in under 12 months from offer through the build phase, where we converted the basement, added 3 bedrooms to the loft, and built a ground floor rear extension as well, all the way through to refinance. I'll show you all of the financials after that so that everything makes sense, and I'll share a full case study at the end which shows exactly what we did, the valuation report and all of the costs, and also some free resources that we made to show you how you can do this too, as long as you follow this process like our clients have, to get almost unbelievable results. Like Lane, with the 2 opportunities that we found for him with this exact process, on target to hit £200,000 per year in income that we secured for him within a couple of weeks of him picking up the phone to speak to us. Now let's take a look around. So this is a 9-bed HMO. This is the largest one that we've done at the time. We're in the loft extension here on the 2nd floor. So there's 3 bedrooms up here on in the loft. So 1st bedroom, 2nd bedroom. And you'll see, if you've seen some of the videos that I've done before, that our style has just improved and improved, and now this has been completely systematized. So every single project that we do is defined by products, systems, the build team, the people that we use, all to deliver the same result, even down to things like artwork and colors, paint colors, all that kind of stuff. So this is the 4th bedroom that you've seen. This is onto the 1st floor. All of them en suite. The 5th bedroom. We wanted to make bigger bathrooms in this to experiment. So we were experimenting with the market to see what the price elasticity was based on bathroom size. So these rooms are all quite big anyway, all oversized, and we wanted to see whether there was more elasticity in the market for higher, bigger bathrooms. So it's the next one here. And then on the ground floor, we've got bedroom down at the front. Again, nice sized bathrooms, 1200 shower trays as well. This will become relevant soon. It's the individual heating controls on the rooms, which we've done for the last couple of projects to get the energy prices down, because as a HMO landlord, you're paying for the bills. So in order to make your business more efficient, we add in temperature controls into each of the rooms, so the tenants don't just whack the heating on from the boiler and blast the heating the entire time. Everyone can have the room, the temperature they want it. And the basement room. I mean, it's called a basement room, but Christ, this is a nice room. And I'll show you the communals. This is a ground floor rear extension. Plenty of space for our tenants. And a lovely property. So let me jump straight in with the big question of how we actually found this property before we converted it, and what the criteria was, so that you can take that information and find the next one for yourself. So yesterday evening, I was on site at one of our projects in Surbiton. We've almost completed a conversion of 6 flats and a title split, so I invited some local estate agents over to take a look and hear their thoughts. And both of them told me something really interesting. Their books are rammed full of stock at the moment. Normally they said they had around 70 active property listings, but one of them yesterday said that they had 94 active listings. But here's the shocking thing. Only about half of that stock actually sells. I don't mean per month or that it sells with another agent. It just gets withdrawn from the market and doesn't ever sell. And that's not just local. It's the average across the UK. Only half of properties listed for sale actually change ownership. So the first thing to keep in mind is that right now there are hundreds of thousands of properties on the market that won't sell, but the owner still wants to. One of the most common questions that I get when I speak to new investors about opportunities we're seeing in the market is it off market? But with large HMOs like this one, it honestly doesn't matter, because selecting the right property and adding value on the back end is the name of the game here. So we're solving for quality first and then the purchase price. And the best quality properties aren't sold off market because the homeowner doesn't need to. Now, of course, you want to buy at the right price, and some vendors and agents are just unreasonable. It happens. But if you're selecting based on quality and only viewing properties that work and offering a price that works for you, it's only a matter of time. So to be clear, we've only ever needed Rightmove or an auction to find great opportunities, and this one was found through an estate agent. Our selection process comes in 2 parts that we call sift and scan. Size, internals, frontage, town planning, and then stack the deal, check demand, attend the viewing, and negotiate your offer. So in short, you'll need to select properties that are around 5 meters wide with a basement, an outrigger you can build above, and a space in the loft, enough space out front for bikes or bins, and side access so they can be stored properly out back. And you'll need to check what's going on in the planning portal and check the volume of the loft with this calculator so you can see whether you need planning permission to extend or not. Note that we haven't jumped into the car to do a viewing just yet. This is all just from the desktop. Then you'll stack the deal by filling in this spreadsheet and making a couple of quick calls. Scrape some rental data from the market and check if there's demand for your rooms at the price point that you want. And only if it's passed all of those checks do you attend a viewing. And I have a process for you on exactly what to do when you get there, what to look at, what to measure, and after that, how to submit a killer offer. Now, I know that I fired through that super quickly, but I want to keep this video as short as possible for you, and I have other videos that go into exactly how to do each of those smaller steps that I'll link to just above my head so you can watch them and then come back to this one. Or of course, if you want to watch them inside our community, you'll get all of the step-by-step guides and the spreadsheets that we use as well, just to help you out. Now, one of the biggest risks I see investors taking is buying a property when they aren't sure whether they can do anything at all in the loft. So our spreadsheet handles that too, to give you an idea of how close you are. Let me just take you through that process quickly. So this is the deal stack spreadsheet that we have available in the community. And if you come down to this bottom bit here, there's this loft calculation. Now, what this is doing is if you go and view a property and you look into the loft and you're thinking, maybe I can get 2 bedrooms in here, maybe I can get 3 bedrooms in here. But because you're pre-offer stage at this point in time, you don't want to pay for an architect to come in and measure everything. You don't want to have that financial outlay, but you need some kind of way to figure out, okay, if I'm going to do a loft conversion under permitted development, how many rooms can I fit in this? Now, if the property is a terrace property, you can get 40 cubic meters, and if the property is a semi-detached property, you can get 50 cubic meters. What this calculator does is you can put the dimensions of the floor below in, and assuming that you're going to recreate what's on the what's on the first floor on the second floor, you can calculate the volume of that roof. If you put in some figures like the ridge height and the width of the property and the depth of the main elevation, which is this one, and the size of the outrigger, you can mirror that onto the second floor, which is what we've done at Hale Road. and you can get an estimate, a very ballpark but pretty accurate estimate on whether or not you can get exactly the same floor plan but with a 2.5 meter or 2.8 meter head height up on the second floor. So let's walk through that process. So with this property, we had 8 meters from back to front. So what we're going to do is we're going to calculate the area of this as a triangle, and then we're going to calculate the area of this as a kind of half triangle, because that's the way the roof was sloped. And then we're going to put a L-shaped dormer on the back of this. So existing is with the triangles, so this section here, so the existing space, and then with the L-shaped dormer, so making all of this head height square, then we can calculate the volume of that as well, and then just subtract this one from this one. And there's a formula here as a guide just to kind of help you and show you what's going on, and some labels here to kind of show you which dimensions to put where. Now in this case, our property is a semi-detached property, so you get up to 50 cubic meters. So we knew going into this deal that we were going to be underneath that 50 cubic meter rule. So the 8 meters comes from here, 475 was the width of the property. The ridge height, so the height from the joists up to the top of the ridge inside, was 3 meters. Actually used to be outside, but was 3 meters. And then the same again for the outrigger. So it was 4.5 meters deep, 3.4 meters across, and 1.75 meter ridge height. Then if you can take the exact same dimensions, but then make the ridge height 2.5 meters, so lower it slightly, and then increase the ridge height at the rear to 2.5 meters, then you can get a really good estimate on what the additional volume that you're going to be adding on is if you were to put an L-shaped dormer on the back of this, by subtracting the total volume by the existing volume. So as a rule of thumb, you want as much space up here as possible. So a nice big ridge height on the outrigger is a really good sign that you're going to have a lot of existing volume. And just be careful that if it's a terrace property, then you get 10 cubic meters less. Now that's under the current permitted development rules. Won't go into it now, but just to know that they are changing. There's a bill in the House of Lords at the moment which should remove this restriction, but we don't know what the final bill is going to be. So for now, make sure you're using this calculator, and it's just a free way of putting the data in before you attend the viewing and go, okay, well, if I can get all of this space as a dormer, L-shaped dormer under permitted, then you can start to calculate whether you can make 2 rooms or 3 rooms, and that might make the difference in whether or not you go for that property or not. And this little bit here at the bottom is just where along this line. Obviously you're gonna lose some of this room here because where the eaves are less than 1.5 meters. So this will show you where along this line, say if the ridge height is here, it's going to show you where along towards the front of the house the property is going to dip below 1.5 meters. And in this case it's 2 meters from the front. So take off 2 meters from here, draw a line, and then that's going to be where your room is going to start. And then you can start to calculate floor area and then figure out if you can get 2 bedrooms in or 3 bedrooms in. Super simple, but let's get back to the video. Now what I just showed you was just one small part of that whole process, but ultimately once you know the whole process, you can spot great opportunities everywhere. And also you'll be able to spot the ones that won't work before you view them or dive too deeply into them, so that you're not wasting your time. But for now, let's move on to what we actually did on site on this one, and I'll finish at the end with all of the numbers so you know where we're at. Now, we used a process to build this 9-bed. It starts with a robust management system, which we built exactly for this purpose. All of the people that we're using on the project and their role, planning consultants, architects, building control, and all of their contact details once they've been instructed. This section's invoices and payment terms for the build, the agreed specification and the price, project completion progress, and how all of that aligns with the payment requests from the builder, which is something that's really important to track because we don't want the builder being overpaid because it causes problems with cash flow later on in the project, and it's bad practice anyway. We also use this to manage all of the products that we use, assign a person who's ordering it, keep the drawings all nice and safe, and everything stored in one place. If we're working with a client, they'll have access to this too, so they can see all of the invoices, they can easily access the drawings, they can look at the 3D models so that we can discuss everything with them on Zoom calls, and we can keep them updated in real time with these progress bars. Each step, each product, each line item in the quote for the works, everything from the planning app all the way through to cleaning and marketing is set out beforehand and costed so everyone knows where we are in the project, and we can see quite obviously if things are going off stray and we're about to run into a problem and correct course. Then we use our Mastering HMO Projects book, and this is our guide for the whole project. It's been our guide for the last few years, and we've improved it for our own use over the projects that we've done. So there's thousands of hours of experience in this document. So we talk a lot about systems at Pineapple, and the core of that, for at least for HMO projects, is this Mastering HMO Project book. Now, this is absolutely everything that you'll need to go from knowing absolutely nothing about HMOs to being able to successfully run and manage your own HMO projects. So 125 pages covering everything from the pre-construction phase, so what to do when you've just bought it, how to prepare for one of these projects, all the way through which materials and items to use, what to install, which things work best. I mean, we've got a section here on these shoe racks that we install. We've got the fire alarm panels that we use. Make sure that you're buying the recessed ones because they look a lot better, and that they are this is an LD1 system, and that they're the addressable ones because they're better. To everything, so everything that you're seeing here is in this book somewhere. So we've got everything about lighting, we've got which shower heads to use. It isn't just items, so the book's broken down into three or four different sections. So we've got the design section, like which materials to use, which blinds and stuff. So if you come into this bedroom here, we've got the blinds that we use in here, and there's links to all of this at the bottom. I'll just quickly show you. So there's links to all of the products here, so they're all hyperlinked, so you just click it. If you're looking for breakfast bar stools or wardrobes or sofas, just come to that section, click it. If you're doing what we do with these temperature controls, so energy bills are a big thing for HMO landlords because HMO landlords pay the bills. So having every single room on its own individual with its own individual heating controls means that you haven't got one tenant just constantly whacking that button the entire time, and some people are hot and some people are cold and it's all a nightmare. So inside this cupboard here we have all of the pipe work for all of the heating pipe work for all of the rooms. This kind of branches off from inside here, and inside every single room we've got one of these panels. You'll see them going around everywhere as we're kind of looking around the property. So we've got sections on what plants to use. We like to have a bit of greenery in ours, but you don't want to use real plants because after a while they can start to look a bit shabby, unless they're super robust ones, but then they don't look as nice. So we like to put in plant work. We've got sections on what artwork to use. We get a lot of ours from IKEA. We also like to kind of brand our properties as well. So business is called Pineapple Group. So we have kind of pineapples everywhere. Just a little bit of branding there, something fun to do. This is a good one. I love this. So if you've got a tenant that's moved out and you've got a room that's vacant, you don't just want to leave it with the mattress and nothing else because it doesn't look as nice. So we've even got a section here on how to, like, what to do with all the furnishings. So what you want to do is you want to buy 2 or 3 sets of this, of like bedding and cushions and pillows and stuff, and then you want to store it somewhere in the property, so that if you've got a room that's vacant, you can dress the room so that when the tenant comes round to view it, it looks a little bit nicer, and the rooms will rent a lot quicker. We've got garden furniture, bike storage, what to do with marketing, so how to run the photo shoot, even places to store the safety document, the fire safety document. So you'll have to have your fire alarm tested every single week, and you need a place to store all of the logbooks and everything, so that when they come in and test it, they've got a place that's under lock and key that they can store everything. And that's in this document too. All of the signage, what certificates that you're going to need, and where to store them. We have a pack that we always keep in the property, with all of the documentation in it, so that if any tenant needs anything, then they can come in and have a look at it. And it's also needed for compliance as well. What else we got? So pre-construction. So we've covered a lot on materials, what's in there, and you've got all of the links and stuff in here. But we also cover in the pre-construction stage what to do, when to instruct your architect, what to do before you've bought the property. So the things that you're going to need to check, Article 4, whether it's a listed building. Conservation areas tend to catch people out as well, so don't get caught out with that. If you're looking at doing HMO, download this completely for free, read the pre-purchase section, and then if you've bought it or you're going through conveyancing, read the pre-construction stage. It's got who to instruct, when, what role they do, why it's important, and you can make a decision on the exact people that you're going to need. We've got some nice to have features, things like water mains, utilities. So sometimes, well, quite a lot of time actually, the basements are originally they were coal storage. So a lot of the utilities are down here. They might need to be moved. So that there's sections in here on how to do that, who to call, and walking you through that, just so that at very least you're aware that it needs to be done, and you don't get midway through a project or get towards the end of a project and realize you've got, gas meter, electricity meter somewhere too close to a bedroom or something. It's all in here. What good tiling looks like, what good kitchen layouts have worked for us, and then some other things like if you've got a big bedroom on the front. So this project didn't actually have this problem, but we see lots of times where you've got a room that's either an interesting shape, or it's say too big, but they become just a bed on one corner and then lots of space in the middle. So installing something like a dwarf wall. So we did these. This is at Holland Road. This is at Fisher Street. So putting in a dwarf wall, something with a little bit of a design feature, can really help to break up that space, and you get more utility out of it because you can use storage and things like that in here. What else we got? Bathrooms. Yeah, decorative lighting, all the kind of lighting that we use. So there's no point in every single project that you do just doing the exact same song and dance of going out and figuring out what lighting you're going to use. Just systematize it. We've put ours into this document for you to use, because we know what works and we know what's cost effective, and we know we have a lot of experience on what things work and what things don't. So it's all in here. What size shower trays to use. There's nothing more annoying than walking into a HMO and they've got like a tiny little shower tray that's kind of poked in. Try to use 1000s. This is a 1200 by 800, and that would be our minimum, because that's a narrow size. What toilets to use? Short projection, 600 mil. Which sinks to use? so that everything's kind of neat and ordered and doesn't take up too much space, but it's still really usable. Blinds, it's absolutely everything in here. I honestly think that you could take, if you've never looked at a HMO before, you could take this document and know 80% of exactly what to do and come out of it unscathed, where to get your paint from. So if you're even mildly interested in HMOs, please take this document. It could save you thousands and thousands of pounds. Now, you don't have to do everything in it, but we've included absolutely everything that we've done, which is a lot, so that everything's covered. And even when you're in the construction stage, we talk about how often you should visit the property, when you should snag, which is as frequently as possible. Don't leave everything to the end. Another one is Wi-Fi. So this property is split over 4 floors. So if you get to the end of your project and go, okay, we'll just use some Wi-Fi boosters, you might end up having to run external cables, like with trunking all over your nice new walls. So if you're doing a HMO project, read the construction stage, pick out some bits. You might not learn anything, but there might be 3 or 4 things, or maybe even one thing that you take away from this. I can imagine there'd be a lot more, but super valuable document, completely for free. It's helped us a lot. We've spent years building this. I hope it helps you too. It goes into the builder's hand, it goes into the client's hand, and keeps everyone aware of the process and specifies the exact systems we're using. So to answer the question of how this kind of project gets delivered, again, it all comes down to systems. Repeatable systems that we can tweak to add in new items if we need to, or allow for changes in building control or planning without having to just guess or rely on good fortune or be caught wrong-footed. At the end of this, there's a checklist as well, and our clients really do use this to make sure there's nothing forgotten, because there's so many moving parts. If you want the book, just click the link in the description. It's completely free. But let's move on to the numbers, and I'll show you how this 9-bed property turned out. So the property was bought for 395, and I've got the spreadsheet open here, and this is also the case study. So the property was bought for 395. You can see that in here. We had some fees, solicitors fees, survey fees, all the standard stuff. Acquisition costs just under 421. Now, we bought this property before the stamp duty started going crazy, but if you're using this spreadsheet, this will calculate everything for you based on the purchase price. So if you're an overseas buyer, that will change the amount, and if you're not, then you just click no. Now, the rental income, 9 rooms, 800 for 7 of the bedrooms, and then 850 for one of them, and then 950 for that couple's room, for a grand total of 88,800. Management fees, and then with the actual running costs divided out per room. So in the case study here, you've got pre-works, post-works, some pictures before and after, and the actual running costs. But we typically allow for £100 per room, and this one's come in just under, which is good. So good rule of thumb, if you're doing a rough calculation, is £100 per room. Now, build costs per square meter, if you look at the EPC, which is in here as well, it's 225. 225, and the build cost is in this document as well at 250, 400, and that works out to just over £900 per square meter, which is pretty standard for us now with these projects. HMO product list is in here as well. Everything that was paid, so all of the items that we used and how many and what they cost. So you can take those from the spreadsheet as well. The service fees, so architects, planning consultants, measured surveys for the architects to use, building control, and then the refinance. So we used some bridging on this, so about £30,000 worth of costs there, which is all included. So rental amount 88,800, based on a 6.8% yield, which is in here in the valuation report. It's all in here. The market valuation's 901. And And then with the fees for refinancing, the rate that we're paying is 6.84, which is in here. And that gave us a ROI of just under 40% with a cash flow of 1,800. And that's at the crazy times mortgage interest rate of just under 7%. Now, if this was to go down to 5%, then you're adding £1,000 to your income there. So you're looking at, on one property, almost £3,000 a month at a pretty reasonable interest rate when that comes down. The valuation of 901, 75% loan to value, gave us 675,000 back. So we used that to pay off all the bridging and all of the costs. And we left around £60,000 in this deal, which is great. And we're earning almost 60% on that money. So we'd have our money back in around 18 months, which is great. Let me know what you think of this deal. Definitely pick up a copy of this case study. It's got way more detail into it. Let's get back into the video. Now, there's one final thing. I make these videos to help you navigate this properly, but I know that there's a lot going on in these projects that takes time to master. And there's so much noise out there when it comes to HMO investing. There's really generic advice, there's big promises, most of it just leading you into some kind of horrific sales funnel. But that's not what this is. Greg and I are active investors. We also run a lettings agency in Kent that does things differently, and we take on a few clients each year that we think that we can get big results for. And right now we're looking to work with a few more landlords and investors. No expensive training courses, just implementation. We plug in our landlord system if you've already got HMOs or single let properties, or if you're looking to build a portfolio, we'll use our full investing system and do all of the heavy lifting for you, just like we would if it was our property. So if you've got capital and you want to see how we can deliver awesome results for you too, download the HMO Mastery Pack. You'll get all of the tools that we use, as well as more free training as well. Plus, you'll get access to the Kent HMO Alliance, which is our free community where we hang out, share and discuss opportunities, answer questions, and where we pick the people that we work with. Or if you're a Kent landlord, we're offering 6 months free management, just so that you can see exactly how we operate with no risk to your cash flow. You can apply for that inside the Alliance too, and if that sounds interesting to you too, take the first step, get loads of free tools that work, and I'll see you in there.